In this episode of Flea Market Rescue, we're going to take this plain basket that I got from the thrift store and turn this into a beautiful French countryside basket. Next, we'll take this old 70s stool, and with a little work, we'll turn this into a beautiful French-looking stool. And lastly, we'll take this 70s rooster and turn it into a big seller. So if you're ready for this week's projects, then let's go ahead and dive into them. Just a quick note though before we get started, if you're new to my channel, I just want to welcome you. My name's Kelly Sherry and I post home decor videos and thrifting adventures. So I hope that you'll subscribe, and if you ring the bell, you'll get notified every time I post a new video. Alright you guys, I got this basket at the thrift store and we are going to make this into a French looking basket. So I am going to use some of this Annie Sloan French linen. So let's go ahead and start painting this. It's like a liner in here. I'm going to take that out. You don't want that in there. This basket I picked up for $2.99. I'm just scrubbing that in there. And we're also going to paint inside the basket because you're definitely going to see that. So let's just kind of paint in there as well. Alright, so I think that looks pretty good for right now. We're just going to let that dry and see where we can go from here. Okay, so this is completely dry. I'm just going to take a little sandpaper to it and rough it up. I wanted to have like this old kind of look to it. I don't know if you can see that. It's like a shadow. I'm trying to make it look old. Now you can see that a little bit better, I think. Okay, so I think that's pretty darn good. So I'm pulling up to Motor City Paint. They have Wise Owl paint here and we're gonna get some. So when I went there to get the Wise Owl paint, I couldn't believe it. They were clearancing it out. They said they really didn't sell a lot of it, but to tell you the truth, I don't think a lot of people knew that they carried Wise Owl paint. So anyway, everything was like $10 each, so I picked up some because this paint is very expensive. It's anywhere from like $26 to $34. Yep, I ended up getting a nice little collection. Okay, so while I was at Motor City Paint, you know, I picked up a lot of the Wise Owl paint, but I also picked up this, it's called Black Walnut Wax, and we're gonna put some of that on there. It's just like dark wax, so if you have some dark wax, that's what you can use. You don't have to go out and buy this, just so you know. But I got that for $10, so we're gonna use it. I'm just going to get my brush in there, and then we're going to put it on our basket to make it look even older. just gonna rub this a little. So I'm just trying to give you a little close-up so that you can see how like aged it looks. Okay, so now that I've done that, I'm just gonna hit it with the same French linen. We're just gonna kind of hit it in areas. We're doing it like a layered kind of look. See how we have the dark that we rubbed the wax on, but then we hit it over here with the light. It just makes it look old. We want it to look like an old French basket. That's the look we're going for. Now that our basket looks really old, it looks aged, it looks like an old French basket. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a little of this Ossenberg. I know you've seen me use the Ossenberg. It's just like muslin, except that it's a little bit thicker and it has the texture of like, I don't know, duck cloth, except not as stiff. It has like, you know, a woven kind of look. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna tear some of this. We already have a nice edge on there, so let's tear a piece. We'll tear it over here. So I want it to be about that big. And you want to tear your fabric. You don't want to cut it, you want to tear it. See, you want this kind of frayed edge around there. Now, let me try to fray this a little. Whoa, almost knocked our basket off. Sometimes when it's cut really close, it doesn't want to rip. There we go. You don't want these strings too long. So this might even be a little too big. I'm going to cut it down just a little bit more. And then be a little. Okay, that's going to be perfect. That's like the perfect size here. Now this is a little too light, so we're going to darken it up. We're going to use a little of this, and we're going to make this look a little stained up. So you're just going to want to Now mine is a little older, so you might not want to really press down. You might want to lightly go over it. Mine, again, is old, so it's going to be not as strong or dark, I should say. Okay, as you can see, that got it nice and grubby. It's gonna look awesome on our basket. But we want to put some kind of French type thing on there. So I have these stamps by IOD, and I'm gonna use this stamp here. I'm gonna get this stamp out. I've used this stamp before, but if this had not been used, you want to take a little piece of sandpaper and just kind of condition your stamp a little, but again, I've already done that because I've used this one before. I have this plastic here that I'm just going to put it on. And then a lot of people use ink. I like to use paint. We're going to put some paint down on here. I'm just going to use this folk art here. All this is folk art, matte paint. I'm just going to paint that on here. So then I'm going to take my stamp and I'm just going to press down. And you're just going to lightly go over your stamp. You don't want to go too crazy with it. I think that's inked up pretty good, actually. I'm just going to press down. I'm just going to press down here. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't backwards. And then you're going to lightly go over it with your finger. You don't want to go crazy with this. Do not shift it either, or it's not going to come out good. All right, let's see. Oh, that looks very cool. So I think that's going to look great on our basket. All right, so we are going to glue this on. I have some hot glue here. And we are just going to glue this in place. I'm going to put a little glue on the back. Just to tack it in place, and then we'll finish gluing it. So I think that looks good right there, and then we'll just finish gluing the rest of it. I do need another glue stick though. And look how cool our basket looks. Okay, so now that we have this done, we are gonna put, I decided that we're gonna go with some of these cotton stems. I think that's probably gonna look best. So we'll just plop some of these in here. And I think that looks just really good. I ended up putting one of my French hang tags on there, and I think it just came out awesome. Now, I know I have told you that we have a Facebook group, but I just have to share with you what one of the girls in our group did with her baskets. She started off with them being really plain like this. She actually painted her baskets white, and then she took a piece of burlap and painted that white and then stamped it. I love the greenery in this, and I love what she did with it. She really did an awesome job, and I just wanted to share that with you. All right, do you remember this stool? I had to have this stool. As soon as I seen it, I knew I wanted it. I actually really like this, but it is so dirty and it is so like 70s. So I'm going to change it out Okay, I'm just taking a flat screwdriver and we're just gonna start prying up some of these staples. I'm not sure what we'll find underneath, but I guess we will see, won't we? Trying not to get caught by these staples here. All right, the moment of truth. Let's see what's underneath there. Oh, it's just wood and some really old batting. I have new batting that we're gonna use. We're gonna use Warm and Natural. We're not gonna use this. But we are gonna paint this before we go ahead and do all the upholstering. So let's paint this right now. I'm gonna go get my paint and I'll be right back. Now, before I paint this, I just want to sand it up a bit just to get a little of that gloss off. So you just want to kind of rough it up. I'm not too worried about this because wow, I just got stabbed with a staple. Yeah, make sure that you're careful to get all the staples out. Otherwise, you might need a tetanus shot like I'm gonna need. I'm just trying to get some of that gloss off. All right, that looks good enough to me. So I have this really cool Annie Sloan paint. It is like a really dark brown, but I'm gonna add a little of this black. I don't have any more graphite, so I'm just gonna use the Wise Owl that I picked up the other week. We're just gonna add a little of this to the Annie Sloan paint, and I think it's going to be a great mix. So let's mix a little of this brown here, and we'll add a little of the black too. I'm just going to mix these two together, and it gives it like a really muddy kind of look. I kind of like that. I think we need a little more, so a little more black. Okay, so I'm just going to start painting this here. All right, I flipped this over because I just want to make sure that I didn't miss any spots here. So I'm just going to kind of go over the legs real quick here, just to make sure. I mean, underneath I know it looks real good, but Again, just want to make sure here. All right, so now we're definitely gonna let that dry. Now that this is dry, I'd like to just kind of sand the legs a little. And then we're gonna put some black wax over it. Well, some black and I just think this is going to bring out the detail of the legs a little bit more if we have a little bit of that wood exposed. Okay, so now I'm going to get my wax and we're going to wax these up here. So we're going to use this Wyzal black walnut wax. So you're just going to dip your brush in that, and then we're just going to rub that all on there. This is going to protect it and also gives it a nice look. Now that we have this all waxed up, let's just kind of rub that in using a cloth. This is like an old sock, actually. Okay, so we're wanting to replace this batting because as you can see, it's old and very disgusting. So I bought this Warm and Natural. You can get that at Joann's. Make sure that you get it when it's on sale at 50% off or even 40% off. And we're just gonna cut a piece of batting to fit our oval. So let's kind of line that up here. Going to put that on top here. I'm going to cut it a little bigger than what we probably need. But it's a good starting point. All right, you guys, we're gonna need a little more cushion. So I have this like batting that's even thicker. We're gonna cut an oval out of this as well. I think that will give it enough cushion. Yeah, just one or two of these was not going to do the job, so I needed to definitely pad it with something else, and this batting is going to be perfect for it. Again, you can pick that up too at Joann's, but just make sure that you use your coupon because sometimes this stuff can, you know, run a pretty penny. So originally I was going to use this tweed kind of fabric that I got on a roll for $5.95. I bought this whole roll. There was actually a lot to it, and I thought, you know what? I like it. It's plain, it's simple, and I thought it would look pretty farmhouse. However, when I went to Joann's to look for a backing, I came across this, and I was like, oh my gosh, whoa, whoa, whoa. This is going to be a total game changer because Look at this, it's gorgeous. So we're gonna do the top of our stool in this, and then we can even put this on the bottom if we want to finish it off. But I love this. I love the crown. I love the little postage stamp. I just love everything about it. All right, so I'm gonna take this seat here and I'm gonna put the print that I want to show right on the front here. Kind of line that up and then we'll cut around. So I want some of these stamps. I definitely want the crown. Let's try to get that lined up a little. I think that's pretty cute. I like that. So we're just going to cut an oval. We're going to go a little bigger because it has to wrap around our stool. But I think this will look good on the seat. Let's just make sure that we have it where we want it. Okay, I like this. I'm just going to start cutting around an oval. So I think that's gonna look great on our seat. All right, so let's go ahead and start working on this. Now, if you remember, we already cut some batting for the cushion. We cut a piece of batting for just like the softness of it. And then we're just gonna put our material over here. And then we're gonna put it on top of our seat. Okay, so when you're doing the upholstery, you're gonna put that on top. Make sure that you do one side here and do the opposite side across like this. Otherwise, if you do this side and then do this over here, your pattern's gonna be all over the board. You really just wanna do one side here, one side there. That's gonna ensure that the pattern is perfectly centered. Then you can do your sides. So that's just a tip. All right, so we're gonna start upholstering this here. So I have the batting on there, both battings, and our printed design fabric. And you're gonna place it where you want it to be seen, you know. Like I personally want the 67 because I was born in 1967. I also like these here in the crown, so I want to make sure I have that as well. So like I told you, you have to do one side and then you're going to do the opposite side. So right now I'm just going to flip this over because I know that I have it exactly where I want it. So let's flip this over and then we're going to start stapling this. So we have it flipped over. I have my gun here. We're going to pull this really taut around there. And we're going to put one staple in there. Now I want to check to make sure that it looks all right. So I'm going to flip it over again. And I think that looks great. So I'm going to flip this over one more time and then we're going to put a staple on this side to hold that in place. Let's flip it over, make sure it looks good. It does. And let's just work our way around. I just want to note that you don't need a stapler like mine that needs a compressor and everything. You can use something like what my mom is using in her video. She's using like the Power Shot, and it doesn't need anything like that. So I'm going to put one over here on this side. I'm going to take a look at it, make sure it looks good. It does. So we're going to flip it over, and then we'll put it on this side. So you always want to check just to make sure that everything is looking good. To me, this is looking really nice. So now we're just going to start working our way around. You know, if you just start stapling and then you turn it around and it's all kind of this way and that way, that's no good. You just want to follow the curve here, and then we'll tuck around. See, we're just going to keep following the curve around. Now we have it's a little too bulky here, so I'm going to get some scissors and we're going to cut a little of this away because it's just a little too bulky. Now you just got to play around with these here. Just kind of hold them as taut as you can. Try to make as little wrinkles as you can. And then we're going to cut away the extra fabric, so don't worry about that. So I think we've done a pretty good job around here. We probably could use maybe one more staple right there, which I'm going to do right now. That looks really good. We're just going to cut away this excess here. It'll be perfect. And we're just going to continue to do that all the way around. That looks really good around that curve as well. So now that we have this all stapled around, we're going to cut the excess fabric off. Because as you can see, there's just a lot of extra fabric. So just trim it up, especially around the legs. Okay, so now that we have this all trimmed, we're going to take some of that other fabric that I had originally wanted to do the seat with, and we're going to put a little of this on the bottom here just to give it a little bit of a finished look. I'm going to take that over to the counter. Okay, so I have this on the counter here. We're going to make this look a little more finished. Remember, originally I was going to use this material that I got at the thrift store, but we're just going to use this material for the underneath. So I'm going to place the circle that I had cut for the top in here, making sure that the pattern is all going the correct way and doesn't look, you know, all cockeyed. So I have it in there like this. And then I'm just going to cut where the legs are so that that can go around. So I'm just going to cut down like this, all the way down where the leg is. That way this can go around the leg without too much trouble. I'm going to do that again with this one here. And we'll do this one with the back here. I'm also going to do this with this one here. I'm just kind of tucking these under too so that it's not jagged. Alright, so that looks really good. Now it's time to glue this all in place. So we're going to start with a little hot glue right here. I'm going to pull this back just slightly so I can start gluing this. I'm going to put this down. I'm going to do the same with this one here. I'm going to pull that back. Just put some hot glue here. And I'm going to rub that down. We're going to do this with the back here as well. Just going to rub that down. And we also want to do that over here as well. And I'm going to rub that down. Alright, so we have the main part all down. Now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take a little of this hot glue and go along the edge. And we're going to fold that in a little so that it's going to have a nice finished edge when it goes around. I'm going to do that along here as well. Just going to fold it down just slightly. That way when we wrap this around, it's going to have a finished edge. Now let me show you what we're going to do here. I'm going to add a little glue right in here and right along the seat a little bit. We're going to go in, and then we're going to hold that in place. Okay, these are joined really well. We're going to do that all the way around. So I'm just going to put a little bead of glue, fold this slightly down, put a little bead of glue here, fold that down so that you don't have like a jagged edge. You want it to look nice and finished. And then just like we did right here, you're gonna put some glue here and on the seat, and then we're gonna pull this real tight around so these two pieces meet. Just gonna hold that in place. Okay, so we have it glued really good around the legs. Now we need to make the edge look very finished as well. So we're going to trim some of this off. We're going to leave about a 1/4 inch so that we can turn it under. Okay, now that we have all this excess trimmed off, we're going to lift this up. We're going to put a little bead of glue here. I'm going to fold this down slightly so it looks like we have a nice finished edge. And then we are going to proceed to glue that down. I just wanted to show you close up what I'm doing here. So what we're doing is, see how this is like a jagged kind of edge? We are going to finish that by putting it up. We're going to put a little bead of glue on it. And then we're going to fold it under so that it almost looks like it was a sewn edge. Then we're going to put some glue right here and then press that down. Finish doing the sides though here. We need a little more right in here. See, it almost looks like a sewn edge. So now, just take a little bead of glue, put it right over here, and then when you press down, everything looks nice and finished. Almost like you had sewn it on a sewing machine. That's what we want. We want a nice finished edge for underneath. So I'm going to proceed to keep on going around. Oh, and then if you need to cut off, like this knee has a little too much bulk, you can take your scissors and just kind of cut some of that off. Like so. And then do your finished edge like I showed you. Then you're going to glue that down. And you're just going to work your way all the way around here, just to give it a nice finish edge underneath. Now when you look at the side, it almost looks like it has a cording to it too, which is really nice. Just has a nice finished edge. All right, you guys, I don't know if you remember this when I went thrifting, but I picked this up for, let's see, $3.99. And I thought it was really cool. I love the shape of it, but it's kind of 70s, so I want to change it a bit. Before we do that, though, I think that we really need to look this up on eBay because I don't know if this is worth a lot. This is from Orleans, and it's from Japan. So I think that we definitely need to look this up just to make sure we're not painting over something valuable. All right, so I typed in New Orleans chicken, and here's one for $12. Here's one for $18.70. Let's see this one here. Oh, look, you can even make an offer. Yeah, this is the same chicken I have, or Rooster, I don't know. Yep, definitely. And it's by the same company. And this one is $12, and you can make an offer with this one too. So we are not going to be painting over anything that's very valuable or just very expensive. All right, so now that we know that we're not painting over like $1,000 figurine, we're gonna paint this white. You know I like using my Behr paint and primer in one. This was color matched to a Sherwin-Williams color called Pure White. It's my go-to paint. I use it all the time. So we are just gonna paint this white here. Now, I'm not going to paint every little dot white. I'm going to leave some of this. Because I like this detail, and that's less sanding we have to do. All right, so I like how that looks. I'm gonna leave it like that, and we're gonna let that dry. And while that was drying, I just cut out a hang tag for it. So there's no need to even sand. I mean, it just has a lot of this black coming through. We're just gonna simply add a hang tag. And I can tell you that if you ever find any detailed, you know, kind of chickens or roosters, pick them up. They are such a hot seller, whether you use a hang tag or not. I just like using them because, you know, it just gives it a finished look to me. But how cute is that? And so simple. So again, if you ever come across these, pick them up, paint them white, and they will sell like crazy for you. Just a reminder for you, you still have a few days left to get 15% off anything in my Etsy store. The sale ends on Sunday, February 13th. And for those of you who have always wanted to learn how to use the scroll saw but were kind of afraid, guess what? I'm teaching a class now called Scroll Saw 101 and it is now out. Also, if you haven't had a chance to join our Facebook group, hop on over there. We'd love to have you. I will leave a link in the description so you can easily find it. But we have a lot of great people there. And if you just want to share your projects or you need some tips or tricks, this is a great group to join. And unfortunately, next week there will not be a video. My mom's having surgery and I really need to be there for her. And I hope that you'll keep her in your thoughts and prayers. And I will be back the following week. So that's it for this episode of Flea Market Rescue. If you like this episode and you want to see more episodes like this, make sure to subscribe to my channel and ring the bell. I'm Kelly Sherry, and this has been Flea Market Rescue.